Trish. Someone was Chantel, wanted me to make a video on how I work out calories and protein and fibre and all that sort of thing when I make meals. So I'm going to make my breakfast today, which I'm actually having this afternoon. But I'm going to make my breakfast. It's just I've picked this one because it's a really simple one, and I'll break it down and show you how I work all of that stuff out. Okay, so I start with, and I don't do this all the time because I generally have an idea after I've done this sort of thing a million times of what calories and proteins and stuff. But to start out, I just write down like a rough list of all my ingredients. Now I won't go over this with you because my handwriting is terrible and it's very messy. So when I do it later, I've worked out how I can show you on a nice little spreadsheet on Excel so it's all nice and neat. So I write down that, and then as I'm making it, I keep track. I weigh everything, and if there's, like on the side of the oat milk, it's got all the nutrition panel down there. I write down how much stuff is, like how many calories per 100 grams, that sort of thing. I'm not going to use 100 mils of milk. I'll only use 60. So then I just work out how much it is. A little bit of math involved. So I'll make a start. I keep my scales here so that I can weigh. This is my crappy old fry pan, but I like it, and it's a really good size for one person. So I measure out how much butter I'm using. This might be a bit of an eye-opener for me because I haven't measured my butter out for a long time. Might be why I'm gaining weight. Now, about that much butter, because I really do like butter, and I know I should probably cook this in olive oil instead, but I don't. So, and that's a 25% less fat butter anyway. I think I normally use a different one that's even less fat. Anyway, that doesn't matter. So that is 13 grams of butter. And I will just pop that over on the stove to melt down. Now I also have some bacon here that I will weigh. I should mention what I'm having, shouldn't I? I'm having bacon with scrambled eggs and spinach and avocado and just a little bit of sweet chilli sauce. Delicious. So that bacon is, where did I write bacon down? I didn't write my bacon down. Bacon, 44 grams, which is normally the equivalent of like one rasher of bacon, but of short bacon. But I couldn't get short bacon that didn't look absolutely mangled when I bought my bacon. Or was that the reason? No, the short bacon was like about $18 a kilo, and I thought that is bullshit. And the regular bacon with all the crap on it was like $9 a kilo. So I thought I'll just buy that and I'll trim it up, which I have done. So there's my short bacon anyway. I just had to work for it this time, and I roughly dice it up, just roughly, because I do like nice sort of chunkier bits of bacon when I make this. Yum. Now I cook that over low heat because I read somewhere that cooking bacon for longer over a lower heat makes it not as bad for you. That bacon could be bad for you is all sorts of wrong anyway. I love bacon, love it. Now I also have spinach, and I do have a lot of spinach, and I will weigh it. At the moment, spinach is free usually, but I will weigh it for the purposes of showing you how to do all this. I have I'll get mine in my hand. I have a really big handful of spinach, and I want you to remember that when you see how full this bowl looks when I'm done, because it's mostly just all spinach. So, but I do like to cut it up. So that, I didn't set it. Oh, I did set it. So that is 44 grams of spinach. And I'll roughly chop that up. Oh my god. I'm not joking when I say roughly. Let me just chuck that all back in the bowl. Because I very rarely have bread these days, I found that most of the stuff that I used to have bread with, like I used to have bread with scrambled eggs and bacon, or fried eggs and bacon, I've just replaced bread with spinach, and it works for me. Now, I'm also going to put in some avocado. That's a quarter of an avocado that I've cleaned up because it was in the fridge for a few days, but it's fine. And I'll just dice that up roughly. And I'll get my trusty scales back again, and I'll set them so that I can weigh the avocado, and that is delicious, 33 grams. On the site that I'm going to take you to, you can just choose an option of, you know, like a small avocado, medium avocado, large avocado, but I have found that their small, medium and large isn't really small, medium and large. For instance, these eggs, these are small eggs, these are like 52 gram eggs. On their site, their eggs start at extra large, jumbo and something else. Their smallest eggs are 59 grams, and that's with the shell. So I actually did weigh these to see, because you can put in the, you can do it by grams as well. Now, to my spinach and avocado, I also add 1 teaspoon of sweet chilli sauce. This it's all sugar, but I'm putting in 1 teaspoon. Now also, when I do something like this, just in case I can't find it on the Calorie King site, most things are there, but some things aren't. It's just as easy to look up the nutrition panel down here, and I've already jotted down here that I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon, so I know that's got 10 calories, 2.3 grams carbs, 2.1 grams of sugar, protein, fibre. Not really existent for this, so I don't include them. And I know that 1 teaspoon of sugar doesn't seem, it is sugar. 1 teaspoon doesn't seem like very much, but when you eliminate most sugar out of your diet, you really notice that. You really notice the sweetness in that. Now, I've just been stirring the slow cooked bacon over there. I'm going to do my scrambled egg mix, which is 2 little eggs. I do normally buy the bigger eggs, but these were cheap, so it doesn't really make that much difference. That's my eggs, and I'll put in 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, which I do include in the calories because there is about 23 calories per teaspoon of cumin from memory. And if you want to actually like strictly count calories, you do, because if you've got half a dozen, if you're making something big and you've got half a dozen ingredients that are only, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you don't include them, it can really add up. You know, before you know it, you're skimping out on 50 calories, and I just don't think that's a good idea. Now, this is my oat milk, because I don't use regular milk anymore. Oat milk in scrambled eggs is delicious. I use 60ml, so it's a 20 and a 40. You should actually use about 80ml of milk in scrambled eggs. I don't like them that juicy. So, I'll just beat up my scrambled eggs. Now the cumin doesn't mix in real good, but it doesn't matter. Once you put it in the fry pan and you start cooking it up, it's fine. Is that done? I'm just going to pull that out of the slow cooked bacon. Just checking that I have put down the amounts for all of the ingredients. And I have. Just going to toss that a little bit. So it's all nice and yummy. Okay, my eggs are done. They don't look pretty because I cook the bacon in the butter and they get a bit sticky in the bottom of the pan, and then I leave the bacon in and just pour the eggs on top. Plus there's cumin in the eggs which makes them discoloured. So they're not pretty, but I guarantee you these are delicious. Absolutely unbelievably delicious. That's that. And of course I put on pepper, because you know I love pepper. And a bit of coriander, just dried coriander, because I put cumin in it, and cumin and coriander and sweet chilli are a dream together. If you don't like those flavours, if you don't like the sweet chilli and the coriander and the cumin, put something else in, or just leave it plain. You could use mixed herbs or parsley or curry or anything you like. You don't have to make it exactly as I've made it. And that's my really high protein, high fibre, delicious breakfast, or as I like to call it, meal number one. So I'm going to go now. I'm going to eat this up. I'll get you a close up in a second, and then I'm going to eat it, and then I'll pop up the other bit of the video that I hope works. So much yum right there. I'm hoping this is going to work. I've researched it all morning on how to do it, so let's give it a go. The way that I work out all of my calories and protein and fibre, all those sort of things, the carbs and sugars, I don't worry about the fats because I tend to stick only to good fats, and fats aren't really an issue for me, carbs and sugar are. So the way I do that is I normally just jot it all down on a piece of paper, but for the purposes of this, so that you'll actually be able to read it and understand it because my handwriting is pretty crap, I've made a little spreadsheet here in Excel. Now I will say that the purpose of this video isn't to teach you how to use Excel. If you want to learn how to use Excel, I advise you go and look up some tutorials on how to do that. This is just a way for me to get my information across to you. Now, there is a very good site online called calorieking.com.au. I go there, and down here in this little box you can plug in each individual ingredient. Now, I'll just do them in order. I had eggs, so you just type in eggs, press enter. My computer's a little bit slow. Now, I always do the food raw because that's how I put it in. If you then start going, boiled food and fried food and all the rest of it, if something is fried, I prefer to put in the food that I'm frying plus the amount of fat that I'm frying it in. So in this case, we're going to go eggs, chicken, egg, whole, raw, fresh. And just wait for my super slow computer. Now, do you see what I mean here? I was saying earlier in the video that the smallest egg is an extra large with, or actually, sorry, no, they've got large eggs here, 50 grams. But you can also, because that says 50, my eggs were 52, I'm going to do this precisely and show you that you can do it. I'm going to do it per grams. I had 2 eggs that were 51 grams each, so that is 102 grams worth of eggs. Now you can see here, it tells you automatically here, 143 calories. If you are interested in the fat, it breaks it down here to the saturated fat and then, the other fats that are in it if there are any, and cholesterol, all that sort of thing. Sodium, I generally keep low sodium anyway, so I don't worry too much about sodium. If you need to worry about sodium, include that. I really just go with the calories, the carbs, the sugars, the fibre and the protein. So I will then go and plug these numbers into my spreadsheet. So, my eggs, 143 calories, it was 0.3 carbs, 0.3 sugars. That doesn't mean, because eggs are a natural food, that they've got added sugar in them. A lot of natural foods just have sugar. And I'll just pop back here because my memory's not that good. Fibre, 0, and protein, 13 grams. That's your important one with eggs. So I will pop back to my spreadsheet. No fibre, so I'll just put a 0 in there for the sake of it. And I think, did I say 13 grams of protein? I can't remember. 13 grams of protein. Plug that in there. Alright? And then you just come down and you do the same thing for each thing, for each ingredient. Now, I'll just do the ones that I'm doing on Calorie King, and I'll go through all of them so that you can see me doing it a few times so that you know. Bacon. So we just go back up here to your little search bar, type in bacon. And wait. Now, there's no actual thing here for short bacon. I don't know why, and it's got lots of other categories here, bacon in stuff. You'll find most of the ones that you actually need that are just that an ingredient will be at the top. So I'm going to do here middle rasher lean raw, because I cut pretty much all the fat off it and I weighed it raw. So that is, I'll use this drop down here and put in the grams, and it was 44 grams. Remember, did I get, yep, 44 grams of bacon. So that tells me 60 calories, 0.2 grams of carbs, 0.2 grams of sugars, no fibre, and 9.4 grams of protein. So we'll pop back over here. I've got to just try to remember this so that I don't have to pop backwards and forwards. 60 and 9.4. So you put in here 60 calories, 0.2 grams of carbs, 0.2 grams of sugars, no fibre, and 9.4 grams of protein. Now you can see down here, that's where I've got my totals. And as I said, I'm not going to teach you how to use Excel, because I'm sure that if you just jot all this down on a piece of paper, you can use a calculator to work it out. But you can see here that these columns are going to add up as I add more. So now I can see I'm already up to 203 calories, 0.5 carbs, 0.5 sugars, 22.4 grams of protein. You can already see that that is a really good protein meal. Now, spinach I'll do for you as well. It was 44 grams of spinach, so I'll put in my spinach here. And salads, fresh baby spinach, no dressing. That's the one I want. This is a really good site for calories, it really is. And again, I'll work it out per grams, 44 grams. That's 14 calories, 0.7 grams of carbs, 0.3 grams of sugars. Now, see, this is, you've got to watch out for this and use your brains a little bit. It's saying there's no fibre. Now, I know that's bullshit because spinach does have fibre. So I'll show you another thing you can do. And then 1.5 grams of protein. So I'll go in and put in this information. So it's 14, 0.7 and 0.3. I'll come back to the fibre and I'll just double check that protein, 1.5 grams of protein. Now, I'll show you another way, like if you notice a glaring mistake like that, pop yourself open another tab and just put in fibre in, what was it, spinach. This is magical. You're going to love this. It's right here, right at the top of your screen. Now, that tells me that there is 2.2 grams of fibre in 100 grams of spinach. Now, we put in 44 grams, so it's just a little bit less than half. So I'm going to say that there's 1 gram of fibre in that, because I can't be bothered getting my calculator out. So I'm just going to go 1 gram of fibre. And we'll work out the avocado, 33 grams of avocado. Go back here. Shepherd, Hass, I don't remember which one I bought, but let's just go with Hass, because I think I've done my research on this and there's really not much difference between a Shepherd and a Hass avocado. We'll go by grams again, and it was 33 grams of avocado. Again, 67 calories, 0.2 grams of carbs and sugars, 0.9 grams of fibre, and 0.7 grams of protein. Now, just while I'm here, the carbs and sugars, see how the sugars are indented a little bit there? That's because the sugars are, like, just say that carb said 0.4 grams of carbohydrates, and that says 0.2. That means that of those 0.4 grams of carbs, 0.2 are sugars. So it's not 0.2 grams of carbs plus 0.2 grams of sugars. The sugars are included in that carbs. It just breaks it down a little bit further. So I will go and plug that into my little spreadsheet. 67 calories, 0.2 carbs, of which 0.2 are sugars, and it was 0.7 grams of, 0.9 grams of fibre and 0.7 grams of protein. And the last one here is cumin. I'll go with this one at the time. I can't remember if I bought Master Foods or not, but cumin seed ground, it's well, that cut me off and that was rude, so I'm just making a new one. I was doing cumin and we had a 1/4 teaspoon. So here it's got an option for a teaspoon. Click on that. We didn't use a whole teaspoon, we used a 1/4 teaspoon. So that is the same as 0.25 of a teaspoon, and that shows 6 calories, 0.6 grams of carbs, none of those are sugars, there's no fibre in it, which I would beg to differ, 0.2 grams of protein. So I'll go and plug those in, 6, 6 and 2. Oh, sorry. And 0.2. Then all the rest of these ones I don't need to look up on Calorie King because I looked up on the nutrition panel on the actual product. So the oat milk, there was calories, 61 calories per 100 ml, and I only used 60 ml. So there is a way to work this out in Excel, but for the purpose of just moving this along, I'll just use my calculator. So it is 61 calories times 0.6. So that's 36.6. I'm just going to put in 36.6 calories. And the carbs were 11.8 grams per 100 ml. So that will be 11.8 times 0.6 again, because I use 60 ml. So that's 7.1 grams of carbs, and the sugars was 1.5 grams per 100 ml. So, what am I doing? 1.5 times 0.6, so that's 0.9. And the fibre, where am I looking? Fibre was 0.9 grams per 100 ml, so times 0.6 is 0.5. And the protein, 1 gram of protein per 100 ml, so that'll be 0.6 grams of protein. Don't need a calculator to work that one out. The butter, I'm only going to put in the calories for butter because all the rest of it is negligible. There's no carbs or sugars or fibre or protein or anything. Now, the butter on the packaging was only written down as kilojoules. So I have another website for you. I just put in kilojoules to calories, and I picked that first one. That's the best one, because what you can do is you put in, now this is per 100 grams, so it's 2,240 kilojoules per 100 grams, and I only use 13 grams. So you use your little star again times 0.13, and that tells you how many calories was in 13 grams of the butter. So that comes out to 69.6, and as I said, not really anything in all the rest of it. And then the last one was my 1 teaspoon of sweet chilli sauce, and on the packaging it told me all the details for it, so I've really just got to plug that in. It was 10 calories, and the carbs was 2.3 grams, sugars 2.1, so even though I put in a teaspoon, it's only got like a half a teaspoon worth of sugar, and there was no fibre and no protein, not surprisingly. So then that gives me my total right there, 406.2 calories for that meal. Now I know that that is quite high if you are in a weight loss mode, like I should be at the moment, because should be losing a bit of weight, but I'm not worrying about that at the moment. This for a maintenance meal, that's fine. If you have 3 decent meals a day at 400 calories each, you're going to top out at 1,200 calories plus, you know, like me, I have a few Jarrah coffees, so I'm fine. 11.4 grams of carbs. That's not too bad. That's really not too bad. And they're all good carbs. All those carbs come from, things like, like the, not the sweet chili sauce, that's not good. But, like 0.7 in your spinach and a little bit in your bacon, a little bit in the eggs, and, 7.1 mostly from the oat milk. But that's not bad carbs. That's carbs from oats. And they're good carbs. 4 grams of sugars in total. Only 2.1 grams of those is from added sugar, so that's like a half a teaspoon, because a teaspoon of sugar is 4 grams, so that's not too bad. Fibre, 2.4 grams. It's better if you have at least 3 to 3.5 grams of fibre per meal, but this is okay. If you want to up it, just put more spinach in. And protein, 25.4 grams. You cannot fault that amount of protein in a meal. That is amazing. Protein for a meal. Now, I might just switch to video in my head now, because this new program that I'm trialling is really stressful for me. I hope this is clear how I've set this up and how I use this site here for converting kilojoules to calories, and how you can use this to fibre in anything. And you can also, not just fibre, but you can also do like protein in spinach, and it'll show you 2.9 grams per 100 grams protein in spinach. It's a really good little tool that you can use in Google. And Calorie King, that's a fantastic site as well. But as I said, keep your eye out that if something looks a little bit off, go and check it the other way. Right, first up, just in case I couldn't shorten all that computer screen stuff, I'm really sorry. It's the first time I've done it, and it's all new and it's difficult for me to do, but I'm working on it. So just in case it was really long, I'm sorry. Thanks for getting this far, and I will work on learning how to edit that stuff. So just want to say, I hope that is helpful. If you want me to do more recipes, like more examples, let me know, and I'll do that. If you've got any particular recipes, or any ideas like soups or whatever that you want me to do, let me know. The only other thing I should mention is what I made was a single serve, so that's easy. You just work it all out, plug it all in, and that's it. You've got it. You've got your calories, your protein, fibre, everything. If you are making, say, a great big pot of soup to divvy up into portion sizes and put in the freezer, then all you do is still work out all of the ingredients and work out all of the calories, all of the protein, all of the fibre, all of the carbs, write it all down, and then when you divvy up the soup or the stew or whatever it is that you've got and put it into your containers, divvy it up equally, count the containers, and then divide your calories by that number, divide your your protein by that number. So just say there is a total of 2,000 calories in your whole pot of soup, and you get 10 portions out of it. 2,000 divided by 10, there's 200 calories in each portion, and then the same for all the other columns as well. If you are making a big meal for your family and you're going to have some, it's unlikely that you will eat as much as the rest of your family. Unless you've got a toddler, then you're probably going to be eating the same portion size as them. So what you can do in that situation, and it is a bit of a pain in the butt, but it works, is to weigh all of it. If you've got scales, or if it's like a really big pot of soup, weigh the pot first so you know what that weighs. You can put it on your bathroom scales, like if it's too much for your kitchen scales. And then when you serve up your portion, weigh it, and then you can work it out. So just say your whole pot of stew for your whole family weighs 1 kilo, and you serve yourself up a 200 gram portion. 200 grams out of a kilo, that's 1/5. So then you just take and just say there's 1,000 calories in the whole pot, and you're taking out 200 grams, that's 1/5, so that's 200 calories. I also find it useful if you are making like a particular recipe on a regular basis. You only need to work all this out once, and then, like on my chicken sweet corn soup recipe, I've got written 2 scoops, because I know how big my ladle is. 2 scoops equals however many calories it is, 180 calories or whatever, so that I know when I'm serving it, I can just make it how I always do, serve it up for myself. As long as I don't put in more than 2 scoops, 180 calories. When you put stuff in the freezer, whether you're putting it in little containers or in a Ziploc baggie or whatever, just write on that with like a permanent marker how many calories is in each portion. That is quite helpful as well. So, hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time.